Good morning, guys. Marina here with another AP Stats video. This is my answer key to Tuesday's question, which is actually 2016 now. We are doing free response question number 1. We may or may not have actually done this question in class before, but it's been a long time. This is a great review on something that I'm hoping actually ends up being on the AP exam this year. And I'm talking about SOCS. So we're given a distribution of Robin's tips, and we have to, in part A, write a few sentences to describe that. So in case you forgot, we have to talk about our SOCS, or shape, outliers, center, and spread. For shape, you have 3 options. Either it's skewed left, it's skewed right, or it's approximately symmetric. And for this one, it's skewed to the right. You don't want to end up getting something like that wrong. So this is what skewed right looks like. Skewed left obviously would be a mirror image of that. Outliers, it looks like there is a high tip amount over here, which is kind of far away from our data. So we're going to say, yes, there's an outlier between 20 and 2250. And then for the center, measures of center are the mean and the median, but on a histogram like this, you don't know what the mean is. It doesn't give us the mean, so it's easier to discuss the median, which is the middle number. Now, I left this blank because I want to remind you of how you can find the median on a histogram. To find the median on a histogram, and the same goes for dot plots as well, you can do the n plus 1 divided by 2 trick. N is how much data you have. We have 60 tip amounts, so 60 plus 1, 61 divided by 2 comes out to be 30.5. Now that doesn't mean that the median tip amount is $30.50. It means that the median tip amount is in between the 30th and the 31st tip. So how much is that tip amount in between the 30 and the 31st tip? Well, the first 25 tips are in this interval here from $0 to $2.50. So the 30th, since there's 22 tips in the next bar, the 30th and the 31st tip are going to be in this bar here. So that would mean that the median tip amount is somewhere in between $2.50 and $5. And for the spread, there's a lot of different measures of spread. We can talk about the standard deviation, the interquartile range, but on a histogram, it's just quicker to talk about the range. And the range goes from anywhere between $0 tip to $22.50, which is the maximum. So now we have to put that into a few sentences, making sure that we discuss context, otherwise we're going to lose points. So, you can go ahead and fast forward if you want to just read the end, or you can pause it and write your own paragraph and check it. Let me just write this down here. All right, so so there I talked about the shape, and I also discussed context. It's about tip amounts. Now we're going to discuss outliers. And I also made sure to say that there's at least one, because I don't actually know. Well, actually, there is one there. But again, I don't want to lock myself into saying that there's only one. So saying that there's at least one is just a safer approach to this. Now I have to mention the center and the spread. And I'm also labeling that I'm talking about the median. Otherwise, the person grading this might might think that you're discussing the mean or something like that. The center median is, what did we say? It's between $2.50 and $5. So that covers all our bases. We have context, we have shape, outliers, center, and spread. If this were a question where we were comparing two different distributions to each other, obviously you would be using comparison words like more than, less than, equal to. We've seen that enough times before. Now for part B, pretty straightforward. There was an $8 tip somewhere in this distribution, but now we're going to switch this to be $18. What effect would that have on the mean and the median? So I don't know what the mean is of this histogram, and it's almost impossible to figure that out. However, let's just say, the average tip amount, the mean tip amount right now of this distribution, let's say they told it to you and they said that it was, I don't know, $10. Well, actually, no, that's a stupid guess. There's a lot of tips on the lower end. So let's say the mean tip amount was, I don't know, $2. If you're now going to switch an $8 tip to an $18 tip, it's going to go up, and the mean is going to go up. So we'll say the mean will increase, and I'm kind of inclined to give a reason. It says justify your answers. If I'm switching an $8 tip to an $18 tip, an $18 tip is going to be somewhere ballpark over there. That's going to be on the higher end. That's going to be kind of close to that outlier. That actually might be an outlier. And the mean, which is a measure of center, is not resistant to outliers, right? The mean is going to be affected if you're adding in an outlier to your data. So I'm going to say the mean is affected by outliers. Or you can go ahead and be extra and say the mean is, I'm going to call that non-resistance, which is something we talked about in September. So the mean is going to increase, and I gave a reason. The mean is affected by outliers. It's non-resistant. Now the median, which is the middle number, the median is, again, in this bar here. That's where the middle tip is. And an $8 tip, even if it isn't changed, an $8 tip is going to be somewhere in this bar. Actually, no. The median tip, the $8 tip is going to be in this bar. If I switch it to be $18, it's going to be somewhere over there. Both of those are above the median. So switching a higher number to an even higher number is not going to affect the tips that are in the middle. So the median is going to stay the same. So the median will stay the same. And that's because the median and the stuff in the middle is not affected by outliers, and we say that that is resistant. All right, so there is your answer key to the first free response question from 2016. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Enjoy.